toes. If you went to down dog, great. Let's go to it again. So curling toes under, lifting the tailbone to the highest point, and we're just going to alternate heel press. So we're pressing down on one heel, bending the other knee, switching back and forth. Wow, my calves are tight. All right. Maybe we'll feel that again. I switched to pretzel as well because I think sometimes when I play my other player, it seems to add to the crash. So we'll see. All right, let's move a few times through a plank flow today. So we're going to start down at the feet, create a wave through the spine. So round as you inhale forward to full plank, straight spine here. Exhale, round back the way you came. Good. We're just going to go a few times with the breath. All right, let's do one more. We'll meet back here at down dog, and then let's walk to the top of the mat into forward fold. And then on an inhale, we'll reverse swan dive. So we're gonna come all the way up. And let's flow through chair a few times. So we'll exhale, we'll sit back, weight into the heels and hips, arms sweep forward. Inhale back up. We're just gonna continue with the breath. Do one more. Good. On this exhale, bring hands together, bring them to the heart, and we're going to switch to flying bird. So on an inhale, step back with the right foot, high crescent lunge. The back heel is lifted. We're going to open arms at shoulder height, lift the heart, let the arms fall back a bit. Exhale, step back to the top of the mat. Inhale, step back with the opposite foot, same thing, lifting the heart, letting the arms open out. Step back to mountain. Good, and just go with the breath. Go at your own pace. Don't feel like you have to rush. This might mess with your balance a little bit. Woo, itchy. Let's do one more on both sides. Now let's meet back here at mountain. Good, and then from here, we're gonna switch to a sun salutation. So whenever you're ready, on an inhale, sweep both arms up. Exhale, swan dive, bend the knees, hinge, come all the way down to forward fold. On an inhale, lift halfway to monkey. So hands on the mat or the shins, torso's just coming halfway up. Exhale, step back to child's pose. We'll do the kneeling version. If you know the full and you want to do it now, feel free. Good, so we'll inhale forward to kneeling plank. We're going to shift forward a bit from here, bend elbows to kneeling crocodile, then release hips and belly to the mat. Just use the core to lift the shoulders into low cobra, hands mostly rest. Exhale, leading with the hips so the back can stay flat as you come back to child's pose. And then we'll step to the tops of our mats to forward fold. On the inhale, reverse swan dive. And then we'll exhale, chair. Good, and we'll inhale back up. Sorry about Streamlabs. Exhale, come down. Good, inhale, lift halfway to monkey. Exhale, step back to down dog this time. We'll inhale forward to full or kneeling plank, your choice. Shoulders are stacked over wrist. Shift forward onto the toes. Exhale, crocodile, full or kneeling. Inhale, pull the belly button through, flip over the feet for up dog or low cobra. Exhale, come back over the toes to down dog or child's pose. And then from here, we can walk, step, or even hop to the top of the mat, forward fold. And on the inhale, we'll reverse swan dive. And then we'll exhale, chair. Good. Let's inhale back up. Let's exhale mountain. Hands by our sides. And from here, step back with one foot or the other so that you're facing the long edge of the mat. We're going to find a moonflower. So we want to find about a wingspan base on the feet. So if arms are at shoulder height, feet are about under our hands, toes turn out, heels tuck in a bit. Let's inhale, arms up. On an exhale, come down to a squat. Draw elbows in towards the spine and ribs. We'll inhale back up, and we're just going to continue with the breath. Good. Continuing this flow, on the next inhale, we're just going to take the right arm up so we can add a stretch through the side of the body. Coming back down, switch the arm on the next inhale. Good. Just continuing to switch side to side a few times. Let's find one more on both sides with the arms. And then next inhale, let's bring both arms back up and we're going to switch to a sunflower. So for this, we're bending the knees to a squat. We're going to hinge forward from the hips a little bit, sweeping arms down in front of us, hinge back, inhale up. Good, just go with the breath. Try and let the spine remain nice and straight. So you're bending at the hips, not in the low back. Hey, thank you, Maru. I appreciate that. I always like this one. This one makes me feel like a ballerina. I don't know why. I did take ballet for a very short time as a very small child. Good, let's find one more. Meeting back at our inhale. On this exhale, we're going to come down to a sun pose. So bring arms down to shoulder height, coming down to this squat. Good, palms are facing the sky. Or if you're protecting shoulders, hold cactus arms, hands on hips or at the heart instead. Those are always options. We're just going to hold here for a few deep breaths. And we're always looking for dynamic tension. So you want to press down into both feet, reach through the top of the head, reach out through the fingertips, press shoulder blades together. All these things are happening all at once. Good. From here, we're going to switch to holding that flying bird pose we did earlier. So we're going to turn towards the left leg here. And you want to pick up the back heel. Front knee is bent. We're going to float arms out to shoulder height once again, but this time we're letting the heart lift open to the sky and the arms are falling back a bit. So we'll turn this way too so you can see it from two different perspectives. Good, and just focus. Imagine there's a string tied to the heart and it's being pulled to the sky and the body's just kind of falling away from it, just kind of letting it happen. And just holding here, breathing deep. Next exhale, let's release this pose and let's switch for pyramid. So for pyramid, we're going to step in with the back foot. So the back foot is completely flat. Both toes are forward, hips are forward. Straightening out this front leg without locking the knee. We'll bring hands to the front thigh. And we're looking for the stretch in the front hamstring. So if you feel it here, go ahead and stay. If you don't, walk hands down to the shin. They could go all the way to the mat, or you could place them on something. Like I have my couch here. This is a little too far away. I also have blocks, so I'm going to grab those because that's more comfortable for me. But find what's comfortable for you. Good, and then try and keep the spine straight. Focus on those deep breaths. And every time when you're stretching like this, you may often hear in a yoga class, send the breath into the stretch. What that's about is focusing on the breath and focusing your attention on the stretch. And it just helps you continue to breathe deep. So some of those things sound funny, but there's a purpose to them. Yes, squats are hard. They will though, if you keep doing it, they will. Good. Let's find one more deep breath here. The next inhale, let's come up to warrior two. So what we're going to do is bend this left knee. We're going to readjust this back foot so it's about parallel to the short edge of the mat. Feet are in line. Good. And you're probably going to have to scoot your front foot forward a touch, but you can adjust once we get there. So this left knee is bent. On an inhale, we're going to pinwheel up. So the right arm comes first and then the left into our warrior two. And then we can take a moment to readjust here. So again, feet are in line. This is a bit of a wider stance. You may have to separate the feet out a little bit. Good. Arms are up at shoulder height. We're actually going to make this a reverse warrior. So the legs are going to stay where they are. We're going to turn the left palm up, reach forward, come up and back to reverse warrior. Back hand is just taking a break on the back leg. We're sinking down into the lunge as we reach up through this left arm. So we're getting a stretch here through the left side. Good. If you feel like you're going to put weight on this back leg, bring the hand up to the hip instead. Just because we want to protect that knee. Good. Let's find one more deep breath. Exhale, come back to warrior two. And let's go ahead and find triangle while we're here. So we're going to straighten out this left leg without locking the knee. Hips are going to go back and then turn this right hip in as much as feels comfortable for you. Hinge from the hips. Find this left hand anywhere on the left leg except for the knee. And then we're going to sweep the right hand to the sky and stack shoulders. So for triangle, we're literally looking for triangles. This can be hard if you don't have a mirror or some way to see yourself. But there's a triangle between the legs, the whole body is a triangle, and there's one here between the torso, this left leg, and the arm. That one's the most important because if the torso isn't straight, you lose your triangle. So thinking about that. Good, this right hand could also be on the hip if you want. But this pose stretches this inner left hip leg a little bit. It's also a bit of a twist. Good, next exhale, let's bend this left knee. Let's come back to warrior two. And let's readjust back to center. Yeah, that's the goal, win yoga. All right, so from here, we're gonna come back to the squat. And we're gonna take arms behind us for chest expansion. So you can clasp hands, you can hold an imaginary beach ball, you can hold something between them. Anything you have will work. And then you can reach your fingertips or knuckles either down towards the mat or out behind you, whichever feels best. But still sinking down, breathing into the shoulders and chest, letting them open up a bit. Good, let's find one more deep breath. Exhale, release the chest expansion. Triangles everywhere. Yes, those are important. Good, and we're gonna come to our high crescent lunge, the other side. So to the right this time, right leg, or the opposite, whichever. But again, back foot is lifted, the heel is lifted, the toes on the mat. Both toes are forward, front knee is bent. We'll bring arms up to shoulder height, lift the heart, let the arms fall back. So this is a bit of a back bend. And again, imagine there's just a string tied to the heart, it's being pulled to the sky. Good, let's find one more deep breath. The exhale, release this back bend, and we're going to adjust the feet for pyramid. So again, the back foot is now flat. You're probably gonna have to step in to find that. Toes are completely forward, so the hips are forward. Front leg straightens without locking the knee, hinge from the hips. Start with hands on the front thigh, or you can walk hands down to the shin. You can go to an object in front of you or all the way to the mat. Hey, thank you, Punk Terry. Thank you very much for the subscription. Hopefully you were upgraded properly. I didn't see if the upgrade popped up. Ooh, I'm gonna grab my blocks. Keep holding. Good, make sure the spine is straight. I'll show you this way too, because you can kind of see it here. So often what happens is this hip wants to open up, and we want to avoid that. I don't know if you can see that, but we want to avoid that because that's going to twist the back. So work towards avoiding that if you can. Good, let's find one more deep breath. All On the exhale, let's bend the right knee so we can readjust the back foot for warrior two. So you're gonna need to step back with that foot a little bit. It's turning open, so it's about parallel to the short edge of the mat. Right knee, right toes stay pretty much where they are, and when you're ready, we'll pinwheel left arm, and then the right, warrior two. And then take a moment to readjust as you need. Find your stance, sink down into this lunge, and then we'll reverse warrior. So turn the right palm up, reach forward, come up and back. So again, the legs stay pretty much where they are. Back hand is just resting on this back leg, or it can go to the hip. And we're focused on reaching up through that right arm. Good. Also, make note of the hips. Often we want to let the hips go back this way. You actually lose some of the stretch that way. So make sure they stay under the shoulders. Good. Next exhale, let's come back down. Let's switch to triangle. So straighten out the right leg without locking the knee. Hips back, turn that left hip in, and we'll hinge here, finding right hand anywhere on the right leg except for the knee, and then the left hand sweeps to the sky. And then again, find those triangles. Good. This left hand can also be on the hip if you want. This is one of my favorite poses. It feels good to me. Hello, welcome to anyone who's joining us. We're about in the middle of our practice right now, so if you begin now, just go easy. Good, let's find one more deep breath. On the exhale, let's bend this right knee, let's come back up. And then from here, let's turn back to center. And let's actually step to the top of the mat, coming to mountain. And once here, let's inhale both arms up. Let's swan dive. On an exhale, come down. And let's step back to down dog. Taking a moment here, breathing into the legs and back. And then let's move through a vinyasa. So we're going to inhale forward to full or kneeling plank, your choice. Shift forward, exhale, full or kneeling crocodile. Shift forward, inhaling up dog or low cobra. And exhale back to down dog or child's pose. Good, then once here, let's inhale the right leg straight up and back, and let's hold three-legged down dog. So for this, keep hips square to the mat, right foot is flexed, and we're breathing into this left leg. Good. On our next exhale, find core plank. So we're going to draw the knee in towards the chest. We're going to hold here for a few deep breaths. This one's tough. Good. Let's lift a little higher. Let's step through to a lunge. Good. And let's just hold this lunge. This is kind of nice for the hips. So just reaching through the top of the head here. You can have hands on something, of course. You can even bring hands up to your thigh if you want. I might do that. I'm going to do it like this. Just try and keep the spine straight. Let's find one more deep breath here. On the exhale, let's step back to down dog. Take a moment. Let's move through a vinyasa, inhaling forward to full or kneeling plank. Shift forward, exhale, full or kneeling crocodile. Shift forward, inhale, up dog or low cobra. And exhale back to down dog or child's pose. Good, but then coming back to down dog, let's switch sides. So let's inhale the left leg straight up and back. Hold here for a few deep breaths. Keep hips square to the mat. Left foot flexed. Ooh, my right calf is really feeling this one. So I'm not going to be able to hold it the full time because I got to protect that calf. Did too many burpees in karate. Good, next exhale, find core plank. So draw the knee in towards the chest, hold here, breathe deep. Lift a little higher. We'll step through to our lunge on this side. Good, take a moment, make sure the front knee stacks on top of the front ankle in the lunge. And you can bring hands up like I'm going to do. I'm actually going to bring forearms up because hands are a little too high for me. Just make sure the spine stays straight. Good. The next exhale, let's step back to down dog once again. Take a few more moments here just to breathe into the legs and the back. And then let's go ahead and walk to the top of the mat into forward fold. On an inhale, it's reverse swan dive. We'll come up. And let's exhale, hands to the heart. Take just a moment here, let the blood flow, readjust to standing. Good, and then we're gonna switch to a quad stretch, standing quad stretch, bounce pose. Do it near a wall if you need to. So whenever you're ready, we're gonna bring weight and balance to the left foot, bend the right knee, take the foot towards the glute, and we're reaching back with the right hand for the right ankle. Flex the foot so the toes point to the mat. You can also hold on to something on the ankle if just reaching to it isn't quite comfortable. Good. And then we wanna make sure the knee and ankle stay in line with the hip socket. So try and do that as much as you can, and then press the ankle into the hand as if you're trying to press the foot away from the body. Left hand can be to the hip, out to the side, or to the sky, your choice. We're looking for the stretch in this right thigh. Might get one in the shoulder too. Let's find one more deep breath. On the exhale, release that leg, shake them out if you want. And then we'll switch sides. It gets easier, Artful Badger. All right, so weight and balance to the right foot. Bend the left knee, reach back to the left hand to the left ankle. Again, make sure all the joints are in line as much as you can. Avoid letting this knee stick out to the side. Keep it right up against the leg. That's where your stretch is. It's also gonna protect those joints. Right hand to the hip, out to the side, or to the sky. Yeah, down dog is not really a beginning pose, but you often see it in beginning classes, which it's a lot harder than yoga instructors tend to think it is. But the more you do this stuff, I promise it does change pretty quickly. Let's find two more deep breaths. That second exhale, go ahead and release that leg. Shake them out if you want. Good, and then from here, let's step back. Let's open to the long edge of the mat once again with our wide stance. Turn toes and knees out, bend knees. We're gonna inhale, arms up, and we're gonna swan dive down to standing straddle splits. So once here, in this pose, we want the spine to be nice and straight, so there are options to find that while we're also getting a stretch in the hips. The first option is to keep the knees bent with toes and knees turned out. That takes pressure off the legs and then turn the back. You can also use something under the hands. Anything. Can be a chair. I can use my blocks, whatever you have. And then from here, if straightening the legs out today seems comfortable, we're gonna pigeon toe for straight legs. So turn toes in for that option. And then if you're in the straight leg option and it feels like there's still more room for the stretch, you can hinge from the hips and come as deep into the pose as you like. But I'm gonna turn this way so you can see my spine is straight. Or hopefully it's straight, I can't see it, but it should be straight. So I'm hinging from the hips here. It's all right here, none of it's here. And that's just important to protect the back. But holding here, if you're in the straight leg option, making sure like you're stretching the mat between the feet without necessarily letting the feet come further apart. And you can hold on to ankles if you want. That's a bit more intense. So I recommend hands on the mat, really. So let's find two more deep breaths. Next inhale, come back up if you've come forward. Turn toes and knees out, bend knees if they're not already. And let's walk around to the right side, turning feet into a lunge. We're going to make this a kneeling lunge. So drop the back knee down. If you have something you want to put under your hands, feel free to grab those, or hands on the mat. And we're just going to sink the hips forward and stretch this left hip flexor a little bit. Good. Make sure front knee stacks on top of front ankle. That's always true. Then we're going to add a back bend here. So you have some options for this back bend. On an inhale, we'll just sweep arms up. Try and keep the hips forward. So you can have hands up. You can have arms down at shoulder height. You can have hands on the front thigh. If you have something like blocks, you can have hands on those. So it's your choice, but we want this back bend here. So think about reaching up through the heart. Focus on the breath. Keep the hips coming forward as much as you can. Sometimes this is hard on my hips, so I don't always do it as intensely. Good. Next exhale, let's release hands back to the mat. And we're going to switch to a hamstring stretch. So we're just taking hips back, straightening out this front leg. As they come back, make sure this left hip doesn't go past that knee. If it does, wiggle that foot forward a little bit. And then from here, make sure this knee doesn't lock. Make sure the spine is straight. You can either have the foot flat on the mat, or for a bit more intensity, you can flex the foot, lifting the toes off the mat. So anytime you flex the leg in a hamstring stretch, it's more intense because you're stretching that hamstring even more with that flex. Good. And then, if it feels like there's room for you, you can always hinge forward and draw the torso closer to the leg, but avoid focusing on trying to get the forehead to the shin. You probably can do that, but that's going to put pressure on your back. So you want to avoid that. Instead, think about trying to get the belly button towards the toes, which is not something you're obviously going to do, but it helps you focus on keeping the spine straight. Good. And you can think about pressing the right hip back a little bit. Just look for the stretch in the hamstring. Good. Let's find one more deep breath. In the exhale, let's come back to our lunge. From here, pick up the back knee. If you're using anything, you're going to want to bring it with you or grab it when you can. But we're going to walk back to the center of the mat and come all the way to the top. Good. And then once here, we're dropping that back knee. And we're going to sink the hips forward into our lunge. So we're just switching sides. Make sure front knee stacks on top of front ankle. And grab this. All right, holding here, stretching this right hip flexor. Good, let's add our back bend. So again, inhaling arms up. You can stay like this. You can have hands on the hips. You can have arms out at shoulder height. You can have hands on something else. Whatever feels best for you. Just focus on the breath. Find one more deep breath. On the exhale, let's come all the way back down and we'll switch to our hamstring stretch. So again, taking hips back, straightening out this front leg without locking the knee. Make sure the right hip stacks on top of that knee or at least doesn't go past it. Front foot can be flat or flexed, your choice. Good. Make sure the spine stays straight. You can always hinge forward if you want. Focus on pressing the left hip towards whatever is behind you. And just breathe into the stretch. Focus on that stretch in the hamstring. mind. 2 more deep breaths here. And on the next exhale, let's bend that left knee. And this time we're just going to step back to all fours. Now let's come all the way back to child's pose. Sit back on your heels, forehead to the mat. And we'll take a moment here. All right, next inhale, let's come back to all fours. And we're gonna sink hips to one side. And we're gonna swing around and come to an easy seated pose. So for this easy seated pose, if you feel like you're falling backwards or it's not comfortable, you can elevate the hips using anything you have. Blanket, pillow, roll up the mat if you want. Good, but once here, let's just start by letting the head drop to one shoulder. Reaching up through the top ear, we'll hold here, breathing into the stretch in the neck. Let's use a hand on the side of the head to gently tilt back to center and to the other side, holding here. And let's use a hand on the side of the head to tilt back to center. And then we're going to drop the chin to the chest. Keep the rest of the spine nice and long. And then 2 fingers on the forehead, we'll tilt back up. Good, and then once here, we're gonna switch to sweeping the right arm up. Bend at the elbow, taking the right hand towards the upper back, and we're looking to stretch this upper arm. We're gonna take the left hand behind the back the other direction, and we're reaching fingertip to fingertip. So I'll turn around so you can see that too. The hands do not have to come together. You could also hold something between them if you want, but this opens the chest a bit. So I'll turn around so you can see what it's like in the back. So my hands don't quite come all the way together, but I'm reaching. Or you can hold on to clothes. Or you can hold something between the hands if you want. But just holding here, trying to keep the spine straight. Good. Next exhale, let's release the arms and let's switch. Sweep the left arm up. Same thing, bend at that elbow. Take the right arm behind the back the other direction. And reach the fingertips together. Continue to reach through the top of the head as much as you can. Good. Next exhale to release the arms, and we're going to move to our backs. So place both feet flat on the mat. Place both hands behind one leg. Come back to knees to chest. You can take a moment here. Good. And we're going to switch to upside down pigeon. So drop the right leg, cross the left ankle over the right thigh. You can stay like this or draw the right knee in towards the chest and clasp hands behind the right thigh. We're looking for the stretch in this left outer hip and glute. I'm just holding here. This is where my hips are often very tight. Good. Let's find 2 more deep breaths. On that second exhale, release the leg if you have it up. Drop the foot back to the mat, but keep legs crossed. Take arms out to a T. We'll switch to a twist, letting both legs fall to the right. Turn your gaze to the left. And then once here, if having the legs crossed is not comfortable, feel free to uncross them and stack the knees instead. Let's find 1 more deep breath here. On the exhale, go ahead and come back to center, and we'll switch sides, starting with pigeon. So draw the right leg up, cross the right ankle over the left thigh. And again, you can stay here, or you can draw the left knee in towards the chest, clasping hands behind the left thigh. Ooh, this side is tight for me. Just focusing on those deep breaths. Let's find 1 more deep breath. And on the exhale, go ahead and release that left leg if it's lifted. Keep legs crossed. Take arms out to a T. Let both legs fall to the left. Turn your gaze to the right. And again, feel free to adjust the legs, stacking knees instead if you need to. But just releasing into this twist. Next exhale, let's come back to center. And then from here, let's roll onto one side. We'll use hands to bring ourselves up. All right, well, thank you, Punk Tearing, for coming. You just missed the very end. All right, so I'm gonna take a blanket. You do not have to have one, but if you do, you can grab one. And what I'm gonna do is roll it up a little bit. And this one, honestly, if you have a stiffer blanket than I do, I recommend that, but this will work. And we're gonna put it long ways on the mat. We're going to find reclining butterfly. I'm going to put these over here in case I need them. All right. Then what you want is to bring the tailbone to the short edge of the blanket, and we're going to lay back on it. So the hips are on the mat. If your head hangs off, you can place something else under the head if it bothers you. And then reclining butterfly. Let knees fall open, bring soles of the feet together, and let arms rest by your sides. Now, if you don't have a blanket, you could also roll up your mat. If you have a mat, that also works. But if you don't want to or don't have either of those, you can just lay flat on your back with knees open, soles of the feet together. Let arms rest wherever is comfortable for you. And we're going to move into final relaxation here. So I do recommend if you ever get a chance to do this with the supported blanket underneath, it's pretty amazing because it just lets the whole body open, which the body does not get to do throughout our day usually. But go ahead and close your eyes here. Turn your attention back to the breath, just letting it be nice and deep and full. and turn your attention to the senses. So this final relaxation, this moment, is not about finding a perfect place. It doesn't need to be perfectly quiet, doesn't need to be perfectly peaceful, perfectly dark, but it's about being with what is. So notice what you hear, notice what you feel, notice the weight of the body as it presses into the mat. Notice the breath as it moves through the body. You might hear somebody outside. And if you catch the mind wandering, just bring it back to your surroundings, to the senses. Let's find a few more deep breaths. And then let's start to wiggle fingers and toes. Rotate wrists and ankles. And let's stretch our arms over our heads so we can reach through the body. Let's add the face, opening the eyes wide and the mouth, sticking out the tongue, taking a deep exhale. And then go ahead and roll onto one side, rolling off the blanket if you're on it. And then whenever you feel ready, use hands to come up to a seated position. Easy seated pose here. Good, and then once here, let's inhale both arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And just take a moment to check back in after our practice today. Thank you all for joining me this morning and sharing your practice. Namaste. Whew, that stretch. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and hopefully you feel a little bit more stretched out before traveling to Gen Con if you are doing that. Let me come over here. Hello. There you go. Focus. Whew. All right. Thank you guys. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I have a little bit of time for that. About anything. And again, if you're going to Gen Con, I will be there. If you know anybody going to Gen Con, let them know. We will have, going with Saving Throw, of course. I think most of you guys know Saving Throw. But if you don't, we've got a bunch of live shows. We've got some panels. One that Jordan and I are doing, streaming RPGs for GMs and players. Wildcards, our Savage World show. We have a live show on Saturday at 4. I will be in the Pugmire show with Havana Mahoney as GM, and that is Thursday at 3. That one is not streamed. All of our other live shows are streamed, but we also have Tempting Fate in Uncanny Valley, and we have a Role Inclusive panel, which is how to make your table queer friendly with Stephen Pope, and we also have how to stream RPGs, the Tech with Dom. Yes, I will be at the Saving Throw meetup as well, which is Thursday, 7. We don't have a location yet. We had a location and so I'm not entirely sure. So stay tuned for that. We'll make posts on social. We may not be able to post until Thursday because it may be one of those things where we just figure it out. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys will come to that. You can buy tickets. A lot of our shows all of our shows I think are just the basic $2, and our panels are free, I think. So check that out. And the panels are almost sold out. So look at that if you're going to come. Yeah. I think I have info about Gen Con in here. Maybe I crazy. Am I crazy? Let's find out. I'm crazy. Okay. Well, but there, yeah, you can check that out. Let me see if I can find the link real quick. My computer will not crap out on me. Fingers crossed. I don't know why your donation, I Shoot First, did not go through. Maybe if you did it through PayPal, that may not be why it's not showing up in the bar. Okay, 1 second. Let me see if I can get that link for you guys if you need it. For my very sad and slow computer. You're so sad, computer. There we go. Damn. I did it wrong. Hold on. What is this weirdo music? Boop. There it is. If anybody wants to see, that's all the events. Plus some other event under Saving Throw, which is not ours. I don't know what they are. But yes. Well, I'm excited about Gen Con. I'm always excited about Gen Con. I think it's going to be good. We have so many people going this year. Big mix of people. Jordan and I don't get in until very late Thursday morning. Because we waited too long to get our plane tickets. What can you do? But anyway. Alright guys. Well, I really appreciate it again. I appreciate you guys being here. And I will be back next Tuesday with more yoga. But no yoga on Thursday because we'll be at Gen Con. But hopefully I will see some of you guys at Gen Con. Yeah. I think that's it though. So again, thank you so much for being here. Really, I appreciate it. And I hope you had a good yoga practice today. And I hope you have good trips or good weekends, whatever you are planning. And I will see you very soon. Oh, one other thing. Let's go and host a channel. We can even raid a channel. I don't know what we should say we're doing, though. I feel like maybe we're going to upgrade people. Oh, here we go. Eric's going. So let's do that. All right. You guys ready? Let me see if I can do this right. All right, here we go. Okay, we'll start briefly. Have a good afternoon. 1 second. Here we go. We're rating. Hang on, what?
I assume that raid was from a passive. I don't think y'all were live, right? You just decided, screw it. Yeah. Not saving throw. I'm so confused. Yeah. Okay. But welcome in Megan Caves. What's up, Megan? I'm excited. We're just chit-chatting about Gen Con and all this stuff. And y'all, if you don't know Megan as well, Megan is another wonderful, amazing role player at Saving Throw Show and does an amazing things over there. But is also a streamer Normal, recent affiliate, and just all around great human being. So if you want, been streaming a lot of yoga, but also cooking streams with her husband, which have been fun to watch. So please do yourself a favor and give Megan a follow and Saving Throw Show.